5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. My name is Tyler Cash here in Las Vegas, Nevada, hanging out in my living room. You can see it's awfully bright today, and I am no longer joined by my co-host, Tommy Goff. Going to do a little mini episode today because it is my birthday. That's right, I turned 35. It is March 15th, 2022. The day is among us. I'm ready for a great day. It's going to be a good time. The Golden Knights have a game tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Going to have a few beverages and catch that game, and then probably go out to dinner, have a steak. Sounds good. Normally I'd be drinking a seltzer or a beer, but today, because it is 8:30 in the morning, I am drinking a water. Trade deadline, 6 days away. It didn't feel right getting an episode out. Not getting an episode out before then. We'll probably touch base with you guys directly after, but I know that we talked a little bit about pending UFAs in our last episode, and I wanted to give some last minute takes. There's also a bit of information and news that we got recently. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Anton Khudobin, the Dallas Stars goaltender, they announced today that he's going to be out 6 months due to hip surgery. Not unlike what Tuukka Rask also endured in the offseason with the Boston Bruins. Unfortunately, we saw how that panned out for him. He was out majority of the season, and when he came back, he doesn't quite himself. So, one could hope that Anton Khudobin comes back and he's 100% ready and good to go. But unfortunately, it's just not looking too good. And this means that the Dallas Stars will probably be holding on to goaltender Braden Holtby, who a lot of people thought he was going to get moved at trade deadline. But, the Stars re-signed Joe Pavelski. They gave him that 1-year deal at 5.5, something in that ballpark. So it seems as if they're not entirely giving up. They're not selling. They want to at least make some sort of playoff run. So I assume that they're going to be holding on to Braden Holtby. Best wishes to Anton Khudobin. I'm going to put my favorite photo of him, possibly of all time hockey related, right here in this corner. I think he's got a bunch of beer and crawfish around him. He just seems like a great dude. Obviously, that deep cup run that they made, 2 years ago? He was a lot of fun to watch. He had that team on his back during goal droughts from their forwards. Hate to see anybody out with any sort of injury at all. Hope he has a quick and speedy recovery and he comes back kicking. So let's talk a little bit more about the first move. So the first move of the trade deadline, the Colorado Avalanche received Manson, a defenseman from the Anaheim Ducks, in exchange, I believe, for a 2023 second round pick and a prospect. Obviously, it appears that the Colorado Avalanche aren't finished yet, but they wanted to add some grit. Manson's kind of one of those stay-at-home defensemen, tough guy approach, like throws his weight around. So this is something that Colorado feels like they're going to need to have a deep playoff run. Maybe they feel as if last year they were shut down by that when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights. I know Braden McNabb plays a heavy style, so does Alec Martinez. So maybe they're trying to replicate something along those lines and add some grit to their team. Sources have said that they're still out there looking for forward depth. Names like Claude Giroux and even Patrick Kane have been thrown out as of late. So don't expect the Colorado Avalanche to be done shopping this trade deadline yet. Austin Matthews suspension. Let's talk a little bit about that because, if you guys listen to this podcast, you know how much I love Austin Matthews. They had that Heritage Classic outdoor game, and him and Dahlin, the young defenseman from the Buffalo Sabres, kind of got in a shoving match in front of their net. Look, Dahlin was egging him on, and I could see an argument with that second cross-check that what Dahlin did was dangerous as well, but in no way was it as dangerous as what Austin Matthews did. He cross-checked him, and it kind of got him in his throat. Dahlin shrugged it off. It didn't seem like it hurt him very much, but I think it's more the principle of the matter. Like, this is the kind of thing that you don't really want to see in the league. Personally, they should have just dropped gloves, and that's how they should have handled it, and that's how they would have handled it back in old school hockey days. Dropping the gloves is not something you see either of those guys do very often. We see Austin Matthews does have some sort of an ego and a lot of attitude. But 2 games seems right to me. He doesn't really have a history. I know a lot of people were trying to throw the book at him on Twitter saying, if it had been Brad Marchand, if it had been Nazem Kadri. But here's the thing, both those guys have pasts with suspensions and have done much more dangerous things. What I saw was just, a scrum in front of the net that went too far. It doesn't make it right. But I think 2 games, especially this late in the season, is personally, I think that's the right call. What do you guys think? I don't have Tommy here to chime in, so make sure you guys hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you think 2 games is fair. Do you think that it's not fair because other players around the league would have either gotten a $5,000 fine or a 10-game suspension? Here's the thing: it's just how the Department of Player Safety does things. They look at the past and they try to tell if there was intent, I guess, is like the main thing. It's not really a case-by-case basis as far as they're concerned. And as I said, Matthews doesn't really have much of a past when it comes to suspensions. 2 games seems fair to me, and it doesn't really hurt his team too much, down the stretch when it comes to trying to find their spot in the playoffs. Jacob Chychrun, he's out. It's not funny. I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing, but I am kind of laughing at how the front office over there at the Arizona Coyotes seems to handle their team. Basically, Jacob Chychrun, defenseman, the one that everyone was interested in. There was talks that he would potentially go to St. Louis. He's out 2 to 4 weeks with a lower body injury. And this is why teams hold out players this close to trade deadline. Actually, we just got an update a second ago that Sherratt is being held out of tonight's game, Montreal versus St. Louis. I mean, who knows? He might wind up on St. Louis, so they don't want to be playing him and potentially injure him and or anger any sort of issues that he's dealing with now right before playoffs. And that's exactly why Jacob Chychrun should have been out of the lineup. I mean, there were rumors already that he was moving. It's clear that the Arizona Coyotes are selling, and they're big sellers. Are trying to prepare for their future in front of 3,000 fans for the next 3 years. But that's besides the point. Stupid move, right? I mean, he should have been riding the pine pony. Right, he should have been on the bench. No reason for him out there to get hurt. If he isn't even dealt now, I mean, very little in return. I mean, you really can't deal him. I mean, he's stuck on the team now for the remainder of the season, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he could be out a month with a lower body injury. And then when he comes back, who knows if, he could tweak it again right before playoffs. I mean, as we know, the playoffs are a completely different beast. It's a more aggressive time for hockey. And I mean, someone that's already injured, limping into the playoffs can't really service a team like he could before. So, dumb move by Arizona Coyotes front office. Hopefully they learn from that, because I mean, they're trying to build for the future, but we'll see. That pretty much brings us up to date. Like, there wasn't a lot to talk about, but I really wanted to chat with you guys. Like I said, it's my birthday, turned 35 today. I'm really excited. I'm checking out this steakhouse called Primal. I don't know if you guys have been there. If you have, leave it in the comments, give me a review. It's a medieval themed kind of Game of Thrones-esque steakhouse. Going to go there with some friends, but obviously before we have the Golden Knights. Who are they playing today? You think I would know, right? They're in Winnipeg, so they're going to be reunited with our boy Schmitty. 5 p.m. puck drop our time here out in the Pacific. Man, I don't know. This road trip has been brutal so far. It's been really hard to watch. They almost came back and tied it up in the game. Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. But these are teams that are bottom feeders, and they should just be rolling through them. It's really hard to be a Vegas Golden Knights fan right now, just because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And I don't even mean like, the distant future. I mean, like right around the corner. I mean, trade deadlines in 6 days. Are we going to be buyers? Are we going to be sellers? I know that somebody had that question. I reached out on Twitter, asking people for questions, and Amy Brew wants to know if the Golden Knights are going to be buyers or sellers this trade deadline. She can't imagine they won't do anything. So I truthfully don't believe that they would sit back and do nothing, just because in the past they've always been big buyers at the trade deadline. We're a new team. They're always trying to improve and evolve. I mean, they've made it crystal clear that this isn't the same team from year one or even year two, and so forth. So yes, I believe that they're going to keep pushing on despite injuries. I don't think they're going to sell. Riley Smith is injured, so he was the one that was a pending UFA. I know Yanmark was the same boat, but like, we're not going to really fetch too much for him. It was really Riley Smith that, we were hearing rumors about, moving on from the team. And now's actually a good thing if you're a fan, because if you like Riley Smith and you don't want the Misfits to break up, maybe he sticks around and signs an extension on the cheap for, team friendly deal, because he feels as if they're really close to the cup, or maybe he loves living here. He loves being a part of the culture. I know that the Vegas Golden Knights organization takes great care of their players. So, I mean, if he can stay put for a reasonable amount of money, I say he does it. I mean, I used to think he was going to move on. It's probably the last big payday he's going to get. So, he's probably going to have to take a team friendly deal somewhere in the ballpark of what he's already making, instead of, a million or two more. I guess we'll see. I don't think we're going to hear any contract extension talks anytime soon, as far as he goes, at least. But yeah, I do think they buy. I think that the mentality here is always advance, never retreat, right? Like, that's the saying. And I believe that they're going to keep pushing forward, and they might replace a few people, add a few people regarding offense. Getting a goalie right now is scary. I think Brossoit has been playing out of his mind. I think he's proven that he eventually could be a number one somewhere, if it's not here in Vegas. I think they're going to go with him. If Leonard is really out, long term, which we don't know quite yet, I do think that Brossoit, backed by Thompson, could be enough to give you a decent playoff run, as long as you're improving your forward depth, and everybody's healthy up front. Because if you think about it, it's really no different than these top heavy teams that we've seen over the years that, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, it doesn't really matter who's in net, I guess, as long as they're, netting 4 goals. And if the Golden Knights are healthy and they add some, goal scorers, pure goal scorers, maybe some wingers, as we mentioned last episode, Philip Forsberg name pops out. Patrick Kane's name's now out there on the trade rumor mill. I mean, the sky's the limit when you're a Vegas Golden Knights fan. They like to keep it exciting. So, my one concern potentially would be Thompson. He's a new guy. He's just getting his feet wet, but when it comes to the postseason, he's really not going to play a lot. So Brossoit is the guy to look at and kind of take notes to see if we feel like he's ready to step up and replace Robin Leonard, because as we know, Robin Leonard has been battling injuries all year. Now it could be potentially lower and upper body. Real quick, let's just go over who's injured for the Vegas Golden Knights. Just on the injured reserve, we have 5 players, over 15 million. That's Robin Leonard, Riley Smith, Braden McNabb, Matthias Janmark, and Brett Howden. And Howden's having a hell of a year. That hurts. Janmark was the guy that you added for depth. Obviously, Robin Leonard is your starting goaltender. That's never a good thing. Riley Smith, core part of that second line when it comes to the Misfits. Braden McNabb, it's your tough guy, that's the guy throwing his weight around, and we don't really have that grit anymore ever since we traded Reeves. So, all of ththose are huge hits. And then that doesn't even cover the LTIR, which is, your captain, Mark Stone, Alec Martinez, Jake Bischoff, and that makes up for another 15 million. So if these guys theoretically aren't healthy enough to play for the rest of the year, or at least the regular season, that's 30 million in cap. And, as we saw last year with Tampa Bay Lightning being 16 million over, I mean, they can go out and legally purchase rentals. They can do that. I mean, you would be putting your future at risk, but I mean, if you truthfully feel like this is your year, or if you're just hungry for it, I mean, they're clearly hungry for it, as we know from the very beginning. Foley wanted the cup in 6, and now it's kind of like pressure time. We got one more year under that, and it's, yeah, like I said, it's crazy, it's scary, but it's also exciting, because at least you have a team, if you're a Golden Knights fan, that makes changes when something is lacking thereof. So I said we could keep it hockey related, or we could just have fun with it, because like I said, it's my birthday and I just wanted to have this episode. Tommy is traveling right now with business, so he's not able to chat with me. It's also a bad friend because he's not really hanging out with me on my birthday, but that's besides the point. So I asked people, hey, just shoot me questions, hockey related, non-hockey related. And just Doug, not Josh, Douglas Fresh, that's a sick name, on Twitter. He wants to know if I like pancakes or waffles. I'm a waffle guy, and here's why. I think that the edge is crispy, and then like the inside soft, and it's got a little bit more consistency to it. I don't know, like thicker, fluffier. And then obviously, I mean, you can't discredit the little the nooks where the maple syrup goes in. I mean, it's beautiful. It's awesome. Actually, I got a waffle maker for Christmas, so been experimenting a little bit with that, having chocolate chips and Reese's like little Reese's pieces in it. It's been awesome. So yeah, I'm a waffle guy. But if I have to be honest, I'm not really much into sweets, especially in the morning. In the morning, I'm more of a simple breakfast sandwich kind of guy, maybe a bagel. I'm a huge bagel dude. Actually, shout out to Ryan, the hockey guy. He gave me a local bagel spot to check out that I need to get with, because yeah, I'm still exploring the area. This is also the 1 year anniversary of me moving to Las Vegas. Signed our lease on my birthday 1 year ago today, and then we went and watched the Sharks and the Knights. They were here in town. So yeah, if you guys have any recommendations as far as restaurants go, breakfast or dinner or lunch, drop it down. I'm still exploring the area. I like to stay in Summerlin, so if you know of any places in Summerlin, let me know. I'm actually still looking for a bar. I really want like an Irish pub vibe, like a dive bar, because like in the Midwest, that's all we have. Out here is a lot of casinos, and don't get me wrong, I love Red Rock, I love Mackenzie River, but you know, a dive bar would be great. So if you have any recommendations, maybe I'll hit it up tonight for my birthday. Which, by the way, if you do want to buy me a drink, or if you want to contribute to my dinner, I'm going to go ahead and leave I'll put it right there, right? I'll go ahead and leave my Cash App and my Venmo and my PayPal right here, so you can donate to my intoxication for my birthday. All right, so we have one more question, maybe at least. Let's see. Let's check it out. Really appreciate you guys, by the way. We're nearing up. I think this is episode 64. Somewhere along those lines. We've been doing this for 2.5 years. Appreciate the support. Shout out to our amazing sponsors, Schlafly Beer, amazing craft beer brewed out of St. Louis. Make sure you download the Schlafly app or go to schlafly.com and find out where you can locate it. I believe you can order it out here to the desert, or maybe someplace like Lee's might have it. But either way, their website will tell you that. Also, we just picked up a local sponsor, Juan and a Million Handyman Company. So you go to juanandamil.com. They do all kinds of work as far as fix it up, taking care of broken things in your house, or if you're a company and you have any issues, make sure you contact them. They seem amazing, and I love to have a local company on board sponsoring the show. And if also you're a local company from Las Vegas, Nevada, St. Louis, Missouri, either or anywhere in the United States, and you want to sponsor the show, make sure you hit us up, drop us a line, and we'll talk more with you. All right. So on the lovely Facebook, we have one more question. It's from our friend Patrick Rubin. He wants to know, what age will my kid start ice skating? He said, I'm thinking 2. So if you didn't recently see my news, I am having a little baby girl. She is due, we think, the end of August, probably the first week of September. About a little less than halfway through the pregnancy, and we're both very excited. Actually got to see her yesterday, which was the kickoff of my birthday. Great gift. Healthy baby girl. We're really excited. Her name's Lily, and yeah, I mean, you know how we are. Me and my fiance are super big hockey fans. You know, she'll be skating as soon as she's standing, as far as I'm concerned. You know, not on her own, you know, with us, but you know, I'd like to introduce her to the ice sooner than later. Yeah, I mean, 2 sounds right. I swam very early. I skated very early. I think it's something that, like, if you're just accustomed to it at a young age, you get like your footing easier, your balance. Like, I don't know, you just get more excited to also be a part of it. And obviously we work around it. So, you know, why not introduce it young? I think that's it. I think that's all the questions. I think that's all the news. Go Knights, go, right? I mean, they need to pull out a win tonight. You know, and I'm honestly curious. I want to hear predictions for tonight's game. Do you want to see them win? Do you want to see them lose, because that will force change? Do you think they'll win? Do you think they'll lose? I mean, I don't know. Any of the above. Drop them in the comments. And like I said, if you want to buy me a drink, here's where you can do so. That's all I got. I appreciate your guys' support. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and at fourthlinegoon.com. Cheers, everybody.